Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Phantom Knight deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is actually really quickly turning into one of my favorite decks because it just has so much utility and is so splashable in so many different decks that building the pure version is something that I really wanted to do. And I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because in the last profile I was proxying like the entire new core set of the cards. But now I finally got all the cards in, and I'm really excited to actually show you guys the full set of cards. So without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to become part of notifications, go out and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below because we have all those awesome rewards like getting your name description for every single video, getting a signed card in the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. So Torn Scales is a really cool card because you can discard a card and then send a Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard, which is a really good effect to be able to send a Phantom Knight card or any card from your hand to the graveyard because a lot of your cards in this deck play out of the graveyard. So this is a really good card for the deck. It also has a really good extra effect that if another Phantom Knight card is in your graveyard, is banished while this card's in the graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. It's a really good effect just to be able to get you an additional monster on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Silent Boots can special summon itself to your side of the field once per turn if you control another Phantom Knight card, and it also has the ability that you can banish it from the graveyard to add a Phantom Knight spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect. We then play 3 copies of the Phantom Knight of Ancient Cloak. Ancient Cloak has a really good effect too, that you can change it to defense position to target a dark monster on your side of the field and increase its attack and defense by 800 points, which is a pretty good effect just to give you an additional boost on your monsters. You can also banish it from the graveyard to add the Phantom Knight card from your deck to your hand, which is very important. You have to add cards that have the Phantom Knight in the name, which is pretty much all of the monsters, but a lot of the spells don't have the Phantom Knight in the name. Like, for example, the Phantom Knights of Rank Up Magic Launch is just Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch, so you can't search this. And you also can't search Fogblade because Fogblade just says Phantom Knights Fogblade. You can't search it because it doesn't have the in the name, which is a little bad, but at the same time, it's still a good card because it's one of your normal summons that you have in the deck to be able to go off with a play, or you can banish it to add one of your other cards from your deck to your hand, like the copy of Shade Brigandine. We then play 2 copies of the Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves. Ragged Gloves lets you banish it from the graveyard to be able to send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard, which is a pretty good effect that basically can turn into a lot of different plays. It also uses the ability that if you use this card as a material for an XZ summon of a dark monster, the dark monster gains 1000 attack, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of the Phantom Knights of Stained Greaves. Stained Greaves is really good because if the Phantom Knight monster is special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can instantly special summon this card from your hand and then increase its level by 1. And you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knights monster from your hand, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn. It also has the ability that then you increase the monster's level by 1 as well, which is pretty good. Just be able to banish this card to special summon any Phantom Knight monster from your hand, like a copy of Ancient Cloak, and then increase its level by 1. It's pretty good because it helps you go into a lot of different plays in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Kagemusha Knight. Kagemusha Knight might as well be a Phantom Knight card because this card is really good in the deck because when you normal summon a level 3 monster, you can just instantly special summon this card behind it, but it can't be used as a synchro summon. So this card is really good just to be able to get you an additional card on your side of the field, but you don't really play any synchros in the extra deck anyways, so it's totally fine just to special summon this card to your side of the field to get its effect off. We then play 3 copies of Tour Guide to the Underworld. Tour Guide is a good normal summon in the deck because it can special summon a Fiend monster from your deck, which we do play a couple of Fiends in the deck to be able to go off into some more rank 3 plays, and this card is just overall really good in the deck. We then play a single copy of Graph. Graph can special summon a Burning Abyss monster from the deck when it's sent to the graveyard. We play a single copy of Seer, which can special summon a Burning Abyss monster from the graveyard to your side of the field when it's sent to the graveyard. And we play a single copy of Libic as well. So the reason I play this particular lineup is because you can get a lot of different advantages off of this just to make a couple of rank 3s as starter plays, but basically these are the 3 that you're going to be using to special summon out of the deck to use your copy of Tour Guide. So for example, if I have a Graph or Seer in my hand, I will normal summon out the copy of Tour Guide, use the effect to special summon out Libic, and then Libic, when it's sent to the graveyard, will give me the effect to special summon a Fiend monster from the hand, but its effects are negated, And it also has the ability that I can then link these two together to summon Cherubini, and then use Cherubini to special summon out a copy of either Graf or Seer from the deck, or use the Livic to special summon them out of my hand, and then I can send one of the other two from my deck to the graveyard to then use their effects as well. So you have a lot of different plays with your Burning Abyss, the small Burning Abyss engine that you play here, to go into a lot of different plays. Now, another card that you could actually play over the Livic is a copy of Farfa. Farfa would be a good added card into the deck because you could banish a card off the field until the end phase as well, so you can interchange the Livic out for a Farfa or the Livic. We then play a single copy of Danger Tatsunoko. Tatsunoko is really good because you can reveal it in your hand and then use the regular Danger package where your opponent randomly picks a card, sends it to the graveyard. If it's not Tatsunoko, you special summon it. But if it is Tatsunoko, you special summon it anyways. But if they don't pick that Tatsunoko, you get to draw a card. I then play a single copy of Jackalope as well. Jackalope is pretty good because it's an additional normal summon, or additional special summon in the deck. Because if this card is discarded, you can special summon one Danger monster from your deck, which is going to be another copy of your Tatsunoko, which is super helpful just to get you an additional monster on the field. Play a single copy of Psychic Tracker and Psychic Wheelator, which basically are just instant special summons to your side of the field if you control a level 3 monster, and one of them is a tuner, but it doesn't come up in the deck because you don't play any synchro monsters. So, we then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom just to be able to deal with your opponent's shenanigans from adding cards from deck to hand. And I played 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which could easily be 2 copies of Ghost Bell if you want to play Ghost Bell over it, or any other hand trap like Nibiru. Just whatever you want to play in this particular slot is up to you. I like to play the copies of Ghost Ogre because Ghost Ogre pops stuff on the field, which helps out a lot in my opinion. But it's totally up to you which particular hand trap you play in this position. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of the Reinforcements of the Army. Reinforcements of the Army is really helpful in the deck because Reinforcements of the Army lets you add a warrior monster from the deck to hand, which is super helpful in the deck just to be able to get you an additional warrior because all of your Phantom Knights are warrior monsters and easily searchable by this card. We then play a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn just lets you revive any of the cards out of your graveyard, especially your Link monsters, to be able to get their plays rolling again. You play a single copy of Foolish Burial because your entire deck plays out of the graveyard, so this card's really good at basically being a wild card to activate any of your Phantom Knights cards in the graveyard. Play a single copy of the Rank Up Magic Force. Rank Up Magic Force is really good in the deck because it helps you go into a lot of different Xyz plays, and we play a single copy of Call by the Grave as well because Call by the Grave just helps the deck out to stop your opponent's hand traps because you're doing a lot of searching in this deck. So that's it for your spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're playing a single copy of Shade Brigandine, which basically can be special summoned to your side of the field as a level 4 monster. And if you don't control any trap cards in your graveyard, you can activate this card the same turn it was set. 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Wing. Phantom Knight Wing can target a face-up monster on the field, and it gains 500 attack, and also the first time it would be destroyed by a battle or by a card effect this turn, it's not destroyed. And you can banish this card from your graveyard, and then target 1 Phantom Knight monster in your graveyard and special summon it, the banishment leaves the field. So it's kind of like Monster Reborn as well. We then play 3 copies of Fogblade. Fogblade is the best search card in the entire deck that you're going to be searching all the time in this deck, and the best target to search pretty much because it has the ability that you can activate this card to basically, if you guys know what Fiendish Chain does, basically this is Fiendish Chain, because what you're going to do is you're going to target an opponent's monster and it's going to negate that monster's effects, but it also cannot attack or be attacked either, which is kind of a neat added bonus to this card that it can't be attacked, but it's kind of weird at the same time. But when this card's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon a Phantom Knight monster from the graveyard as well, which is a really good effect just to be able to special summon another Phantom Knight monster. So you're playing 4 additional Monster Reborns when they're in the graveyard. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing the single best card in the entire extra deck, which is a single copy of the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardige. Rusty Bardige is really cool because during the main phase, you can send a Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the graveyard and then set a Phantom Knight spell or trap directly from directly to your back row, which is pretty cool. But there's a really cool combo with this card that if you guys are unfamiliar with Phantom Knights, what you basically do is you send a copy of your Silent Boots to set a copy of the Fogblade, and then you banish this from the graveyard and you get a second Fogblade. So basically you're getting 2 for the price of 1. You're getting a double search off your copy of Rusty Bardige. It also has a really good added effect that if a Dark Xyz monster is summoned to this card's zones, then you can destroy a card on the field, which is really helpful because you basically play an entire deck of Dark Xyz. We then play a single copy of Access Code because it gets its additional pops on the field. We play a single copy of Unicorn because it can spin stuff. Phoenix because it can pop spells or traps. IP Masquerena because it can help us go into a copy of our Unicorn. 1 copy of Cherubini. Cherubini is really nice in the deck because you can send any level 3 monster you want from the deck to the graveyard, but it works really well with a small copy of the Burning Abyss package. We play a single copy of AA Zeus, because AA Zeus is really good in any Xyz deck, and this card is just really good to overlay after an Xyz monster's battle because it can board wipe, which is really nice. Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, because you can make this on top of a Dark Rebellion, and then it also has the ability that you can once per turn detach a material from this card to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and change its attack to 0, and this card gains the attack of that monster, which if they have anything that's 5,000 attack points, you can just instantly drop it down to 0 and swing over it, and you win the game because this will go to 8,000, and then during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated, you can detach a material from this card and negate the activation to destroy that monster, and then you can special summon 1 Xyz monster from your graveyard, which is a pretty cool effect as well. We then play a single copy of Arc Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Arc Rebellion is just a big beat stick as it gains the attack of all face-up monsters' attack points on the field, and it also has an added effect that negates the effects of all monsters on the field the turn you detach a material, but it's a really good overall card. The only downside of this card is that it can't, no other monster can attack on your side of the field. Play a single copy of Dark Rebellion because Dark Rebellion adds the effect to Dark Requiem because you have to have Dark Rebellion as a material to gain those effects on the copy of Dark Requiem. 1 copy of Raider's Knight because Raider's Knight is the easy way to actually summon all of these cards, because you can use your copy of Shade Brigandine and your copy of your Stained Greaves to be able to go into this really easily, or you can use the copy of your Rank Up Magic to go into Dark Rebellion, and then Dark Rebellion will go Requiem, and Raider's Knight will go into Arc Rebellion. We then play 2 copies of the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Breaksword is ridiculously good in this deck because you can once per turn detach a material from this card, pop a card on your opponent's side of the field, pop a card on your side of the field, and if this card is destroyed by a card effect, then you can special summon 2 Phantom Knight monsters from your graveyard and increase their level by 1, which then can get you into a Raider's Knight or a Dark Rebellion. You play a single copy of the Levineer the Sea Dragon because you can detach material and special summon 1 of your banished monsters, which is always going to be 1 of your Phantom Knights. Then you play a single copy of number 75 Bamboozling Gossip Shadow because this card helps you out a lot with Nibiru because it has the effect of once per turn when an opponent's monster activates an effect, you can quick effect detach 2 materials on this card, and then it basically make that card's effect to both players draw a card, which is pretty good just to be able to negate any effect and be able to draw a card. And then also you can target a number Xyz monster that you have, but you don't really have any number Xyz, so this card doesn't really come up that much besides negating a monster effect. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun deck to play with. I highly recommend that if you guys have not tried Phantom Knights before, you should definitely pick them up. Even if you don't like Phantom Knights, like playing pure Phantom Knights, it's still a really good core because I put Phantom Knights in a lot of different decks as an engine in dark decks because you can play a really simple engine where you play 2 copies of the Fogblade, 1 copy of Shade Brigandine, and then a single copy of each of the Ancient Cloak and your copy of the Silent Booties, and then you can also play this in the X deck, and if you play this in a deck, it's really good in any dark deck. They can help you out a lot with getting negations that a normal dark deck just couldn't get on their own. So you have a lot of different utility if you do pick up Phantom Knight. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.